My stepdad called the guy next door a predator, then protected me by installing a security camera aimed straight at my bedroom window. I was 9. He said it was for my safety. I learned fast it was for his access. When Thomas moved in, Jeff held me close and whispered, "That man's a creep." His hand slid across my lower back like he owned me. That night, a camera went up outside. It didn't point at Thomas's house. It pointed at mine. After that came nightly safety checks. Jeff crept into my room after Mom fell asleep, sat on my bed, and described way too vividly what men like Thomas did to little girls. I told Mom once. She didn't even look up from the laundry. "Stop being dramatic," she said. "He's protecting you." But Thomas never watched kids. He avoided the school bus, avoided families, avoided eye contact. The only time he showed up outside was when Jeff took me out alone. Suddenly, he needed to walk his dog. Always at a distance. Always watching Jeff, not me. Jeff escalated anyway. Games that went too long, touches that lingered, baths because Mom worked late. He kept saying, "Trust me," like that made it normal. Then it happened in the garage. Mom was at work. Jeff had been drinking. He shoved me against the wall and said, "You're getting so pretty. Let me show you something special." I froze. My brain screamed stranger danger, but the stranger was the one holding me. Thomas appeared in the doorway. "Sorry," he said calm. "My cat got out. Mind if I check?" Jeff's hand snapped off me. "No cat here. Leave." Thomas didn't move. I saw him run this way. I slipped past Jeff and ran inside. The next day I found Thomas and blurted, "Jeff touches me." Thomas didn't look surprised. "I know," he said. "I've been writing things down." He took me to the police station because I needed someone official to hear it. They laughed. They stared at Thomas and talked about Jeff's reputation. Then they pulled me aside and asked questions about Thomas. When we left, they warned Thomas to stop harassing the department. That night, Mom screamed that I was trying to ruin our family. Jeff stood behind her, smiling like he'd been handed a reward. Later, he came into my room. I won't describe it. I just waited until the house went quiet and climbed out my window. I limped to Thomas's back door. He opened it, and I saw his 2 daughters on the couch with bruises on their arms and legs. My stomach turned. The older one whispered, "Dad, she's bleeding." The younger grabbed my hand. "It's okay. Our dad saves people." Thomas kept space between us. He wrapped me in a blanket and sat across the room. When I asked about the bruises, his voice went cold. "Their mother did that. I found them locked in a closet." He showed me proof. Photos, dates, medical notes. "We document yours too," he said, pushing me a notebook. "We don't stop." Jeff showed up fast, pounding and yelling that Thomas kidnapped me. Mom's voice went sweet and shaky, like she hadn't ignored me for months. Local police came and forced me home anyway. They slapped Thomas with a restraining order and treated me like I was confused. Jeff locked me in my room after that. New lock, outside only, no phone, no computer. He stood at my door and said, "Sweet dreams, princess." 2 weeks later, a note appeared tucked into my window frame. "Tomorrow, 3 p.m., be ready, T." The next day, sirens screamed. A small house fire down the street triggered an evacuation. Jeff couldn't refuse without looking guilty. As we stepped outside, I saw Thomas at the edge of the restraining order line, eyes locked on mine. I ran. Jeff chased me through the crowd, shouting, "She's not safe. She's confused." I didn't slow down. Thomas couldn't cross the line, so he yelled, "Mrs. Grant's house." I hit Mrs. Grant's yard, and Jeff finally grabbed my arm. He yanked. My shoulder jerked, and I tasted panic. A woman stepped forward in a suit and held up papers. "I'm Judge Hawkins. Emergency protection order. Let her go." Jeff's grip loosened. Then 2 state troopers walked up behind him. One said his name, and the cuffs clicked. Jeff tried one last move. "Check Thomas's computer. You'll find things." A trooper nodded. "We did. We found what you planted. Your fingerprints were on the USB." Mom ran up crying and still chose him. "My daughter makes things up," she hissed. The judge didn't even blink. "Your child has documented injuries. This is not a misunderstanding." That night, I went somewhere safe. Jeff went to jail, and the camera that protected me finally stopped being the thing watching me.